What's up guys, Uncasual Gamer here, and today we are going to be looking at 3 Xbox 360 games that I think are going to go up in value in the next year. Yeah, so I actually did 2 of these videos last year back in 2024 where I picked out 8 games across the 2 videos. If you haven't seen the videos, you can go watch them on the link above. And in those videos, like I said, I picked out 8 different games, and I think out of the 8, 7 have either stayed the same or gone up in price. I think 1 has dipped by £2. But just some of the big changes in there. Digimon Rumble I mentioned, which was I think I got for £10 at CEX, it's now £22 in 2025 today. And NBA Ballers Chosen 1. I think when I recorded the video last year, this was £2 and it's now £10 or £15. So that's like 5 times in price. So yeah, these are just two of the wins from the last time. But yeah, today we're going to talk about 3 different video games that I think you should pick up this year. So I think they're going to go up in price. And just to caveat what I said in my earlier 2 videos from last year, this is not financial advice. There is no guarantee here. I am not saying go out and buy these right now. What I'm saying is these are just games that I think, based on some research, based on what I've seen in other video games, especially on the Xbox 360, I think they're going to go up in price in the next year or so, the next few months. Maybe they're going to see a rise, see a climb in the price, especially at CEX, which is where we kind of, if you're over here in the UK, it's where we kind of base our prices on. So yeah, let's get into the first game, I guess. So the first game we are looking at today is a game called Nailed. Now this is, as you can see, I picked this up a couple of weeks ago. It's currently £5 in CEX, and I think there are 18 copies available across the country at the moment on there, so less than 20 copies across the entire country available at CEX, which shows you that it's not a massively popular game. Now this came out in 2011, so this is the first reason. We'll talk through a few of the reasons why I think this might go up in value. And firstly, 2011 was in the UK, was towards the end of the Xbox 360's life cycle, so games that tend to come out early, like Halos, etc., Halo 3, people had a longer time to buy them, to play them, etc. But games like this, towards the end of it, I think the Xbox One came out in 2013, so at this point people were probably saving up for the next console. They weren't buying as many games on their 360, so that's a good start. Secondly, if you look at this game on eBay, it tends to go for around the £10 mark already. Now you can get one, I think the cheapest on there at the moment is like £8 with postage, but as an average, if you look at the last few sales or what's listed, they tend to go around the £10 mark. Now it's quite rare over here in the UK to see eBay prices be above CEX. Usually CEX is a little bit higher. eBay tend to undercut CEX. That's because CEX offer like a 5-year warranty on games. Something like a 5-year warranty. It might be more now, might be less. And obviously you're buying from a recommended retailer, it's a safe, it's a legit game. Whereas if you buy on eBay, people tend to pay a little bit less just because you're buying it from a private seller. So yeah, this is going for more on eBay than what it is in CEX. So I think, at some point CEX will match that price, whether they pay £7 or £8 in the next few months. I think that is very likely to happen. And finally, this only sold like 0.2 million units in Europe. So it sold really bad. Now it's a game that I've only ever seen once, and I picked it up because I liked the spine on it. I thought it was quite nice, the white, I like the orange, I like the artwork on this game. That's why I picked it up, and I've not really seen it out in shops that much. So it's certainly one of those games that's more unique. Now, in terms of what kind of game it is, it's kind of like a quad off-roader game. Where do I think this game will go in the future? Look, I think it'll reach the £7 to £8 mark in the next few months. Do I think it'll go over £10? I don't know. It's hard to tell with this kind of game. I think it's certainly going to go up in price. It's not one of them that's going to go down just because there are not many copies about. And like I say, it's selling more on eBay. So I think it will steadily go up. I can maybe see it hitting £10 in a year's time, and I think by the end of this year we're looking at £7, £8 on this one. So yeah, let's move on to game number 2. Okay, so game number 2 is a triple pack. This is Trials HD, Limbo, and Explosion Man. Now, if you didn't know, last summer, I think it was in July, the Xbox store finally closed. Xbox 360 store completely closed. And as you might be aware, these 3 games are all Xbox Live Arcade games. So in the past, usually Xbox Live Arcade games are not released on disc. You've kind of got to download them from the store. But however, certain games like these 3 were bought out on disc. Now, first things first, as you'll see with the sticker on the front of this one, BAFTA nominee for Limbo. So with this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight into, before we talk about price or anything, This is a set of absolutely fantastic games. As you'll see, there is a BAFTA nominee sticker on the front because Limbo was nominated for a BAFTA award. And the 3 games were all really, really well received games. Trials HD got 85% on Metacritic, Explosion Man got 9 out of 10 on Steam, and Limbo got 9 out of 10 on IGN. So this game is currently £10 in CEX, and I think you're getting literally 3 9 out of 10 games for the price of £10. Now, similarly to the last game we looked at, Nailed as well, this game does go for more on eBay. It goes for about £18 on average if you're looking at listed games and recently sold. However, the cheapest one on there is about 15 with postage. So, once again, this is one of those games where I think CX will be playing catch up at some point soon, and they'll probably raise the price of this one. Because it's already 10, I think this one might raise slightly more. I can see this going to £15 in the next couple of months, probably by the summer really. And there are currently 30 copies in store across the country. I think 28, 29, just under 30 copies. Similar to Nailed, this one also sold quite poorly at 0.3 million copies worldwide. So, yeah, I think this one, like I say, I think will be hitting £15 by maybe the summer. Certainly into next year, you'll be looking at £15. And I think this might be one of those games that then in the future continues to rise even more. But I guess above all else, this is just a really good game to have a disc to have in your collection. It's got 3 really good games in there that you can't download anymore. And I think as people realise the store shut, people who might have forgotten, they might be looking at this and want to jump back into these games, and they'll have to pick up a disc version, and this will become more sought after as the years go by. Okay, so on to game number 3, and this one is a little bit of a wild card. It's probably not as certain as the other 2 to go up, and it's probably not a game that you'd expect to see on one of these lists, and that is Disney Pixar Up. Now this at the moment is also at £8 in CEX, and once again they've got less than 30 copies in store. So it's not a super rare game, but it's also not incredibly common. There are 30 copies across the country so at the moment, and at £8 it is at a reasonable price for an Xbox 360 game. It's probably just above average. And the reason I've put this game on the list is because this is known as one of the easiest Xbox 360 games out of the entire 1,000 odd game library. It's one of the easiest games to get 1,000 gamer score on, so to get 100%, to get all the single achievements. Now we know we've got a lot of Xbox achievement hunters out there who literally buy games just to get the achievements, just to get the gamer score. And this, like I say, is, I think it takes about 6 hours. It's super easy to complete to get all the gamer score, and unlike most games, especially from this era when we started getting online, there is not a single online achievement in this game, so all of the achievements can still be got. Quite often you see nowadays, if you jump back into an old Call of Duty, for example, they'll be like, you better get almost every achievement, but then there'll be 1 or 2 which requires you to win so many ranked games online or something, so, and the servers will be down, so you can't achieve it anymore, you can't do it anymore. However, Disney Pixar Up, this does have an entire offline library of achievements. So yeah, achievement hunters, this one will always be a game that people want to pick up. People that have missed it, I see it in forums discussed all the time. You have not done this yet. People who are even now jumping back into the Xbox 360 and trying to get the gamer score up. Obviously, your gamer score as well, even on the Series X today, has carried over, so you can jump back into the 360 and get onto your Xbox Series X library. So yeah, I think this will always be a game that is sought after. And then secondly, it is Disney. Disney games, we know we're always going to have collectors for Disney, whether it's games, whether it's the DVDs, whether it's collectible figures, whether teddies, whatever it is. Disney will always have a market, and we don't tend to see that many video games anymore for Disney films. You know, this era of gaming, we had, you know, it was Pixar especially. We had so many games out, so many great films out during the noughties and the teens, and Disney seemed to put a lot of games out. And this is actually quite a good game. I've played through it myself to get the gamer score, and yeah, it's a good game. It's not a bad game. So for that reason as well, I think that this will always be desirable by people who are not just achievement hunters, but if you're going for a full subset of Disney games, for example, in your 360 collection, then you'll need this one in there. And finally, obviously Disney are remaking a lot of films, so they are making live action remakes of films, and Up has not got one yet, but it is reviewed as one of Disney's greatest ever films. So at some point, if Disney decides to re-release Up or make a live action version of Disney Up, then this game, people might want to jump back into it, and it probably will rise. Like I said, this one's £8 at the moment, so it's not a cheap game. However, I think this will hit 10 by the end of this year, and then maybe into the 15s if Disney do bring around the film again and they do announce any trailers or anything like that for it. Now this game sold 0.3 million copies, so very, very similar to both Trials HD and Nailed. However, 2/3 of all sales of this game were in North America, so it performed very well in North America, and not so well in Europe, which means 0.1 million sales here in Europe. So yeah, there we have it, 3 Xbox 360 games that I think are going to go up in value over the next few months, the next few years. At the moment, these 3 games would set you back £23 in CEX, £8, £10 and £5, that's right, yeah, £23 in CEX. I think by the end of this year, that's going to be £30. I think they're all going to go up a couple of pounds in price just because there were not many copies in stock. I think there were like 80 across the entire country if you combine all 3 games together. Let's say 80 copies across the entire country. So yeah, if you do see these at your local CEX, if you see them out when game hunting, I probably would recommend picking them up. They're certainly, in terms of Disney Up and in terms of the triple pack, this is a great game to play as well as collect. So it's not just a game for investment, it's also a game for you to collect. And this one, like we mentioned, is also a great game if you're an achievement hunter to get your gamer score up a little bit more. So these two are brilliant. This one I've not played, so I can't really comment on the game itself. However, I think, like I mentioned, just because of when it came out, because of the copies sold, and because of the price on eBay, etc., I think it will go up in price, and it might be a great game anyway. Who knows? Give me a shout if you played this game. Let me know down in the comments below. Anyway, thank you for watching, and keep gaming.